And it is my immense pleasure to introduce our speaker for the evening, Mr. Sanjay Kapoor, who has a vast experience of 33 years in diverse fields of sales, marketing, techno-commercial operations of companies and industrial products, software services, medical equipment, exhibitions, conferences, event sector, transportation business, and managing chamber of commerce. With that, I will also be running you through the list of awards which Mr. Sanjay has won. He has been conferred with the following recognitions: Udyog Ratna by Delhi Telugu Academy in 2018, PRCI Chanakya National Award for the Best Public Relations in the category of a Communications Professional for the year 2017, Business Leader 2015 Award for the Innovative PR by TVS, Chanakya Innovative Business Leadership Award 2015, and the Most Promising Entrepreneurship Award of India 2010 for outstanding and exemplary achievements in entrepreneurship by Enterprise Asia. Won the Excellence in Marketing Award from FAPSI, which is Federation of Andhra Pradesh Chamber of Commerce and Industries, in the year 2010 and 11. And he has also featured as one of the trailblazers of Hyderabad in the first Trailblazer Coffee Table Book of December 2011. He has recently authored the book Copreneur. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining us here this evening and being patient. We really, really thank you for your time.
So, fortunately for me, I got selected there, but I never joined that company later. So what I'm trying to say is that life is very simple. We unnecessarily make it complicated. God has given us common sense, and if we start using that common sense, it becomes very, very easy, whether it is your personal life or a professional life or whatever you intend to do. And I believe that a lot of people who are listening this is primarily from the business background and small scale businesses or medium scale businesses, and they face these kind of issues on a daily basis. So that's the start of this whole session is. And let me also, I had actually thought of talking to you in detail about VUCA world, which is actually very predominant if you have heard about it, and it solves a lot of issues on a regular basis for businesses. But I'm not too sure because I'm seeing very little participants here. So if I will like to skip it, even by just touching upon it. So I hope that you all are aware about VUCA, the terminology VUCA. Are you or you are not? You are guys are aware? No, okay. So VUCA is a acronym which is used for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And this is a word which was used first time by Harvard University professor in 1987. And thereafter, a lot of marketing strategies, companies are based on this VUCA acronym. And people actually try to implement the strategies come out of it. But it is very, very important into the current scenario where the disruption of a century has happened because of the pandemic. A pandemic has changed the way people used to think about their businesses. A lot of businesses are going down the drain, but there are a lot of businesses which are making money out of it. So we are into a volatility situation, we are into an uncertain situation, we are into a complex situation, and we are into an ambiguous situation, and that is what VUCA stands for. So I'll not go into the detail of that, but I'll touch upon another terminology which has come very recently, about a couple of years back, and it is VUCA 2. And this is predominantly for the leadership of any organization which is there. And VUCA for leadership and its strategy, which is VUCA 2, now the V stands for vision, and the U stands for understanding, C stands for clarity, and A stands for adaptability. Now, if you try to see both these things together into the current situation, we are into an atmosphere which was determined by VUCA 1, and we are looking for leaders who will be successful, who will follow the path of VUCA 2. Uh, it's a very long drawn process, understanding, and a very nice explanation on this, but I am going to skip that for time being, for today at least. And I will concentrate more on another story which is a true story of the world, but I'm not too sure whether you have heard about it or not. And before I come to an actual story of my life, which happened in Hyderabad, and it's a business story which is now being taught in all management colleges across the world. and that was a case study done by IIM Ahmedabad. But before I come to that, let me tell you a small anecdote about a situation. There was a company who used to manufacture underwears, and it was a small company. The After few years of running that company, the owner of that company suddenly found that every day a part of his stocks is getting vanished, and he tried to use all kinds of CCTVs, various methodologies to find who the culprit is or who the thief is. He was not able to do it. He was able to check each and everybody who is going out of the premises of the factory, but he was not able to check. He used to get people stripped while they are going out, but everybody had only one pair of underwear which they were wearing. He hired a consultancy company. They had worked on it, but nobody had an answer to that. So one day, a girl who used to sweep the shop floor, he happened to see all this drama going on for about a year or so. So out of a, just this thing, she went and told this guy when he came to the shop floor that, sir, I have a suggestion if you want to listen to me. So that guy said कि बताइए क्या है आपका suggestion. So she said that, sir, one day why don't you check people coming inside rather than people going outside? Okay, so he did that next day, and he was shocked that every employee and every management person who was coming inside was coming without an underwear. So the crux of the matter, what I'm trying to say is, it's a very simple solution, but that even the management companies, consultancy companies, they didn't had. And this girl who was there, she laterally, we call it lateral thinking. So they thought, and we don't think about the problem. We don't think about the solution. We only think about the problem. That's the situation on that. 2 days back, I was seeing a movie on Netflix, and I urge you all guys to see that movie. It's a very good movie, and it will talk about these kind of thought processes. The name, I'm sure you guys have not heard of that movie. Its name is Made in China. So please go to Netflix and watch that movie, and it is very different, but it will give you a lot of ideas on that. Now, coming to this story about my life has been always about such kind of problems, because my first orientation in Larsen and Toubro, which was my first company when I joined, was very clear. I had a 40 days training program, which I still call it as a commando training. And what we learned there was the change of the thought process. So we have been taught not to look at problem as a problem, but look at in a way that we can solve that issue and solve that particular problem. I'm a hardcore sales and marketing person. I don't sell products. I always sell a solution to the people, and that is what the with the way you can solve the problem. So let me tell you, I was in my entire life, I have done only sales and marketing, and I was the head of. I was the CEO for High Tech's Exhibition Center way back from 2008 to 2012. And 2012, when L&T got this, incidentally, I don't know whether you are aware, that time Hitex was a joint venture company between L&T and Andhra Pradesh state government. And L&T had the management control, so I was running on behalf of them. And in 2012, when L&T got this Hyderabad Metro Rail order, they pulled me from that Hitex Exhibition Center and gave me a job in, transferred me to Metro Rail. And Metro Rail, they, apart from giving me the sales and marketing of non-revenue part, they also gave me something which I have never done in my life, and that was the taking care of the corporate communication. And while the sales and marketing was supposed to happen 3-4 years down the line, when the construction will finish and people will start looking at it in a prospective way of transportation, corporate communication was very important for the company for a couple of reasons. Number one was that L&T is primarily an engineering and construction company. They always work behind the scenes. They are not an FMCG company which do a lot of marketing and prospective visibility creation for their clients. And here, their clients were the population of Greater Hyderabad, and they don't know how to do it. The second was that, if you remember, Metro Rail was given to L&T after Satyam was withdrawn from that, and there was a, you all know that how Satyam came down and how Maithas was there. So there was a big controversy around it, And people in Hyderabad were very skeptical about the fact that metro rail will ever come, and they always thought that metro rail is a real estate game rather than a transportation game. Under those circumstances, the company was expecting me to change the minds of 1 crore Hyderabadis, and that was the primary job of that. And I had no experience, to be very honest, of doing that. And I was given two people to handle it. And I was also given a very stringent instruction, which was very awkward. My boss told me, who was the MD of L&T Metro, that Sanjay, while you have to do all these things, no money is going to be given to you. So there is no budget for it. So you have to generate your own money. You have to create the thought process in the minds of the people, and you have to change this whole thing about what people are thinking. Now, more than me, I have to inform this to my two employees who are working with me as my colleagues. And how will I tell them what are we going to do? I mean, I'm sure that people who are listening here, their mind will also be blank. That how can you do something to attract and change the minds of 1 crore people when you don't have a penny in your pocket? And this is an ideal situation for any startup or an entrepreneur where they work. They still have some money, but I didn't add any of that. So anyway, we sat down with three of us and we did a lot of brainstorming. But months, 2 3 months passed away, but we didn't had anything because everybody has this idea. We'll do digital marketing. We will call for celebrity. We will do this, but everything which you want to do, there's a money which is required. So the first question I will ask them is, how are you going to generate money? Forget about corporate communication being a cost center. We are working now as a profit center. So first of all, you have to generate money. Now, how will you generate money? You don't have a product, you don't have a service. So generation of money was a very big issue. So then we came up with an idea after this brainstorming of 2 3 months. And let me tell you, during this 2 3 months, I used to go periodically to my boss and tell him, sir, I mean, it's impossible to do it. And he will say that my hands are tight. After 3 months, what happened that L&T got the highest amount of money as a loan from the consortiums of the banks, which was the highest amount that time given to any PPP project. So I again went to him. I said, now you have got 16,000 crore rupees. I just need 1 crore rupee out of that. Please give me that. He said, no, there is a stringent condition by the bankers that you can only spend that money on construction and engineering, not on publicity. So you cannot get a penny out of that. So we were back to square one. Again, we sat down and we discussed. This was fifth month, I believe, after I joined them. So during that fifth month discussion, we thought that why don't we create, a platform where we select brand ambassadors from the common people. And that thought was very profound thought, and it was a buying in for that. And I felt very confident that. But again, the problem was that if we select brand ambassadors, how are we going to do? We have to do a lot of events, we have to spend money, we have to do canvassing, everything. There is no money for that. Then the second, during deliberation, we came to thought process. Why don't we, since we decided that we will select the brand ambassadors from school children, college, entrepreneurs, housewives, and I'm sure that some of people might remember when we did that campaign that time. So why don't we involve some companies who are target areas are these kind of genres of the society. So we made a presentation and we went to Bon Vita first and tell them that, look, we are going to cover about all 1400 odd schools in Greater Hyderabad. And when we are going, we will also promote your product, Bon Vita, which is an ideal case for all the students. So they liked the idea, but they said that it is another corporate working with another corporate, and as a policy, they cannot do it. So we were not accepted and we were back. So we were failing. You please understand, fifth month, every action which we have taken, we are failing. We are a non-starters in that particular thing. So again, we debated, nothing was coming up on that. And in meanwhile, I was keep meeting the MD, etc. Then during that period, a news came to our knowledge that Government of India has said that there will be 13 more metro rails in 13 cities of India, which will be done on the same PPP model. It clicked an idea to me, and I thought that there are a lot of international and national supplier to L&T Metro. Like we have Hyundai, we have Samsung, we have suppliers from France, Germany, everywhere there was big suppliers, and these were big contracts. So I thought, why don't we go to all these people and tell them and sell the idea? Now there's 13 new metros are coming, and we all, if become a team and try to project this success of this particular metro, there are chances that everybody will get benefited out of it. So I went to my MD with that thought process and I said, you have to write letters to all these vendors of ours. Mind you, they are vendors. They are working for us, so we have an upper hand telling them that you need to sponsor this. It clicked. And it clicked so much that my requirement was 1 crore rupee and I got 3 crore rupees. But it was 7 months. Okay. So we got the money, but the challenge was not over. We had the money, but then the second thing was how to make this campaign successful. So we had to cover, we have done some data mining on that. We have to cover, there were about 1478 schools in Greater Hyderabad that time. There were close to about 350 colleges and universities in Greater Hyderabad. There were, housing societies, which was events. There were malls. There were, on roads, we have to do these programs, etc. We have to go to the corporates. We have to the government offices. We need a huge team. And the total manpower of Hyderabad L&T Metro Rail was 152 people. Okay. And please also let me tell you that when we went and presented this case to the core committee, where I was also a member, all these people were from the construction and engineering background. They don't understand publicity. They don't understand. They have not ever worked in their life in L&T where their mindset is that. So when we were talking about all these things, they were not at all interested. It was only the MD who has put it forward, so they were just going by that. Now, our bigger challenge was finding a person who can do this for us. That is an event manager. Now, fortunately for me, since I worked with the high techs earlier, I had a lot of event managers who were known to me. So I approached all of them. And I told them, we don't have much of the money to give you. But if this is successful, there will be a lot of money and then we will be able to share it. So kindly do it on a cost basis to us. Nobody was ready. And all these event managers came and told me that, look, the best of the events which run does not run for more than 45 days. And you are talking of an campaign which is going to run for a year minimum. Okay. And we are not interested. It is not going to be successful at all. After a lot of persuasion and somebody who has done a lot of work with me, I am sure that you all know Rachna Utsav from Hyderabad. So I reached out to Sanjay and Naraki and I said, look, this is something which you have to do it for me. So they gave me a budget of 1.5 crore, okay, and said that they will do it, but this is what their charge is. Anyway, we negotiated. We said that we will pay on the basis as we receive the money. We covered all these schools. We covered all the colleges. For every January, we had a different kind of a process to see how we are selecting the brand ambassador. To give you one example, otherwise it's a long story, you can read Copreneur or you can go to IIM Ahmedabad's website and take out this case study. The schools were the first target for us. Why? Because we always thought that people will get the best message from the schools. The children go to their homes. They, if they are convinced, they are convincing act as a domino effect in their families. But reaching out to these schools were very difficult. So what we did, we created a small bag, and we reached out to all these colleges, all these schools, and we told the principals that you please give us 5 of your best boys and 5 of the best girls, and then we will do a selection out of them through a process. But our condition was also one, then you are going to give us 5 minutes in the assembly at least once in the entire program. That means we want to address your assembly. And that was the real thing. See, please understand, our job was to create a visibility, to create a buying in for Metro Rail, was not actually creating a brand ambassador out of. We know that that brand ambassador creation is just a front, but actual message was something different. Out of this 1478 odd schools, about 500 schools agreed for giving us a 5 minutes in the assembly. So one of these stories I'll tell you. Now the challenge was how we will reach out to these all schools. Maybe in a week's times or 10 days times or 15 days time, we don't have people. So what we did, we went to all these 152 employees. We called them in a town hall meeting and we said, there is nobody better than you who knows what this Hyderabad Metro Rail is and what is the benefit it is going to give to the people. So you should go to schools and you should talk about metro rail. And that was, bringing them inside the fold. Today, let's be very clear, everybody wants to go on the stage and speak, whether they are afraid of it or not. Here, people who never got that opportunity in their life, they were trying to address these people. So there was a great buying in. So anyway, all we use them for this kind of thing. And one of the places I went, and that story I want to tell you because it's very important. I went to Chirak Public School in Kondapur. And when I was addressing the children there, one of the 11th class children asked me a question. He said, "Sir, you are talking about running the metro on electricity." And during that period, remember, in the Hyderabad city, about 6 to 8 hours electricity cut used to happen. So he said that we have this kind of cut. How are you ensuring that the metro rail will run without any kind of a disruption? And the question was very great. And this is what we wanted actually, because somebody should ask this question. So then I told him the answer, which is, I'm very sure will be interesting for you, and I'm sure that you are not aware of it. So I told him that the entire greater Hyderabad requires 2200 megawatt of electricity on a daily basis. And metro is going to run 24 by 7 per day, which requires only 50 megawatt of electricity. Now, this 50 megawatt is minuscule into 2200 megawatts, number one. Number two is that L&T is creating three stations of their own, each 50 megawatt. So if the government electricity will fail, the first station will come into picture. If first station fails, second will come, second fails, third will come. There is no possibility that even four of them are going to fail. The third important thing is, as per the Constitution of India, railways come as number two emergency services. So if electricity of the entire India has to go, defense is the first area where the electricity doesn't go, and railway is second area where the electricity doesn't go. But not only this, L&T has come out with a regeneration electricity technology, by virtue of which every time the train will move on the track, there will be an electricity which will be generated. And that electricity is going to generate, it's about 35 megawatt on a daily basis. So practically you are dependent on any outside world for only about 15 megawatts. And mind you, that 50 megawatts included 7 malls, out of which only 3 are running today in Hyderabad. But that time it was captured as 7 malls and many other things on that. So I think that answer was very convincing to them, and it changed the paradigms of the people. I'm very sure that the student or any teacher or many other people who were listening, that they went and told to their families and told them that this is what happened today, and somebody came and he answered that kind. So it was a domino effect. We did not spend any money on publicity. What we did was only digital marketing. We also created a small capsule which was shown in the theaters before the movie was done. And we did physical things. We went to the mall. Similarly, there was housewife campaigns in the societies. We stood outside the mosque and temples and gurdwaras and distributed these pamphlets for being the ambassador, and asked them to put it or send it to a particular place. So this 7 different competitive programs was done over a period of 9 months. And after that, we had a big program in JRC, and it was attended by close to about 2,500 people. And these 8 ambassadors was selected. Now, while we were doing all these campaigning, etc., a lot of media coverage was happening. Let me tell you, we needed juries who will assess this competitive programs. We needed about 700 jury members, and from where the jury will come. And that was also buying in things. So we contacted every college, educational society, opinion leaders of the society, some big business people, some Tollywood heroes and heroines, and some media people, and they became our juries. So we brought in 700 people from the same society who became the jury for this selecting these people. So there was a all around involvement of the society into that. And during this involvement, we were telling them how this whole thing is going to help up. There are many stories on that. If you Google brand ambassador Hyderabad, you will come to know about that particular thing. Uh, Apart from the local media, national media never took a notice of this. But you will be surprised that there is a magazine called Caravan, and there is a Washington Post who had their journalists posted in Bangalore. He flew from Bangalore and he went through this campaign on a particular trail with us, and he covered a 18 pages story in Caravan and Washington Post. And then it was picked up by IIM Ahmedabad, and then IIM Ahmedabad people came and they did a complete case study on this. This is one of the only case studies in the communication arena, which is an Indian case study which is taught in the international MBA colleges across the world. Most of the Indian good stories, even in the corporate world, are not being captured by the students, etc. In the end, we not only selected the brand ambassadors, we not only created a positive outlook. Obviously, there were other reasons of creating the positive outlook, but our department made a profit of 2.5 crore. So, what I'm trying to, if you analyze this entire story, every entrepreneur, every startup company starts with the same thing. People say that entrepreneurship and a startup is outside the corporate. I said it is inside your mind. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you are working in a corporate, and that's why I've named my book as Copreneur. How do you work as an entrepreneur in any given circumstance, whether it is a corporate? Corporate is a very different world. There are a lot of politics, there are a lot of buying ins. As I told you, that a job was given to me. I was very happy in high tech, but a job was given to me which I had no experience. And I was told to do something which had no support at all. So ultimately, I believe that all entrepreneurs work in the same kind of situation. While out of 199 people don't are not successful, one person is, and probably we were. There was every possibility we would have failed. But even if we would have failed, nobody would have questioned us, because everybody knew that getting a success out of this situation was very, very difficult. I think this is what I just wanted to say, and I don't know how much time I have got. If I have, I will carry on. Otherwise, I will end it.
Uh, no, so we're pretty much done. If there are any questions that anyone would like to ask Mr. Sanjay Kapoor, and then we will carry on. Any
Please.
questions for? So we thank you very much, Mr. Sanjay, for joining us here this evening. And
Thank you.
over to you.
Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. That was a privilege for us to understand, know, and listen the journey and the struggle you faced for us to have this L&D project. There are so much learnings we got to know. And I let me introduce myself once again. My name is Gurunadam, and I am the president of BNI Kohinoor chapter. And on behalf of Kohinoor chapter, let me thank you. It was a great pleasure. And we only have few members here, so there is no disturbance. The session was live. All of our members and their team are watching on Facebook Lives and in the auditorium of the Expo. And we are so honored to have you as a guest speaker in the Expo of BNI Kohinoor Business Expo. Thank you so much. It's a privilege.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. For the benefit of visitors and viewers here today, this Kohinoor Business Expo is organized by Kohinoor chapter from BNI. BNI is the world's largest referral organization where we group of 52 entrepreneurs meet every week and we do exchange referrals. So thank you, Sanjay sir. It was a very great presentation. Thank you.